Hello, and welcome to Degenerate Gambling 101. Sorry, I mean options trading. So remember, none of this is financial advice. You can lose all your money and be forced to buy a lot of stock if you got no idea what you're doing. So we're running before we're walking, but everything is time sensitive, so we'll work backwards as necessary. This is just going to be the intro. It's going to be very abbreviated and meant just to cover the basics. I'll be more in depth later with stuff like the Greeks. If you really want to know more, just comment. You can direct message, email, whatever. So the next video is also going to be more advanced. It's going to go into nitty gritty stuff like how can you use the bonds as an indicator of the stock, which can help you come up with different options plays. So most people talk about buying calls on things like Nvidia or Apple because they think the stock price is just going to go up. Simple strategy because you don't have to put up any margin. You just buy the call and YOLO is going to the moon forever. What you're also saying, whether you know it or not, is basically you think that the premium that you're paying is low, hence the volatility is low, and that the stock will move more than what's being priced in. So, for example, on a $100 stock, you pay $5, which is only $500, to get exposure to the stock for a month. The stock goes to $110 at the end of the contract, or by the time you sell your option, you would have likely have doubled your money, even though the stock only moved 5%. The problem here is more often than not, you're going to lose, and human tendency is to hold because it looks like it's just going to keep going up. If the stock does nothing, goes down, you could possibly lose the premium that you paid and lose everything, essentially. So it's much better to have a plan if you're down 30% or more, or say you're up 50%, to either get out of it totally or to get out of a significant portion. But who cares about the theory? Let's get into action. So we're going to use a real world example over here. All right, so you can see over here, this is one of my positions in Google. I have a $160 call. It's actually part of a debit spread for August 2025. 1 year from now, it's the $160 $200 call spread. But we're going to just ignore that for now and just go over the call portion for simplicity. So for the $160 call on August, I paid the trade price. That's $20.68. Let's just call that $20. That's the red highlighted area. It's currently worth $25. That's the yellow highlighted area. And the P&L is at $440, which is the white highlighted area. So since I paid, let's call it $20 for the contract, I had to give 20 times 100. That's $2,000 to purchase that contract. And I own that for a full year now. The ability to buy Google at $160 a share. So that makes my break even $180, which is $160 plus the premium I paid $20. So any movement above $20 is pure profit, and anything below is a loss. So what I'm doing on Riley is selling puts, which is similar to buying calls, kinda. But you benefit from actually four instances. One, the stock does nothing. Two, the stock goes up. Three, the stock goes lower but finishes above the strike you sold, which is the $2.50 strike. And then four, volatility collapses, which I will touch on later. But for that cushion, there's a significant difference between buying calls and selling puts. When you buy calls, you lay out the premium first, and there's no additional collateral required. So in Google's case, that stock is at $165. So $165 times 100, that's $16,500. You're in control of $16,500 worth of stock, but you only paid $2,000. That's almost 10 times leverage. So the caveat is if it's below the break even of 180 by the end of the contract in August 2025, the trade is technically a loss. So when you sell puts, you get credit for the premium that you would have paid if you bought the puts. In this case, it's 80 cents is what I got paid. We need to provide collateral for all 100 shares for each contract you take at that strike. So since I sold the $2.50 strike, I need to have $250 of collateral or cash in order to sell one contract. So the stock finished Friday at $6.21. The stock would have had to finish 60% lower than where it is right now for this option to be a loser. The only situation which that happens is basically bankruptcy. So this is one of my positions in one of my accounts right here. When I originally sold the 2.5 puts, they gave me 80 cents a contract times 100 shares at $80 a contract. The break even is $1.70. If the stock is below $1.70 by the end of the contract, I lose. And I either have to pay the difference or buy the stock at $2.50. If it's bankrupt, I got to pay all $250 per 100 shares. Per times that by the number of contracts I have, which is 8. So 8 contracts, that's $250 times 8. That's $2,000 I could potentially lose if Riley goes bankrupt. But honestly, I don't really think that's going to happen given the recent headlines. The current market cap of Riley is about $188 million. And as far as I'm aware, in their latest update, they had $191 million of cash. There's supposedly serious talks between Riley and Oaktree for them taking a majority stake, valuing two parts of their business, the valuation and services bit part, as well as the retail unit, which includes franchise group, at $360 million. So if that deal goes through, you talk about additional instant liquidity, putting immediate bankruptcy off the table going into likely next year. That's all I have for now for the intro. I'm a bit short on time, but we'll pick up later with additional focus on the Riley bonds and some option stuff as well.